Let's talk about psychological ownership and how it develops. Psychological ownership is a two-faced creature. Psychological ownership is rooted in our desires to do something worthwhile, to create, to be unique, and to belong, and nourished by our feelings of being successful, autonomous, invested, and an expert. It can significantly enhance your team's effectiveness or substantially hinder their effectiveness. What is psychological ownership? Psychological ownership is a feeling that one has ownership responsibility for something. Individuals that develop psychological ownership may or may not feel an actual product ownership or tangible ownership. It does not matter. It is all about the ownership responsibility. Now the problem is not the psychological ownership. It is how the individual who possesses a sense of ownership responsibility reacts and whether they feel they share that sense of ownership responsibility with the team. Psychological ownership within the team can be manifested as the ownership of a product or solution, the ownership of a plan, a mission, and an idea or option, to name a few. How does psychological ownership develop? Psychological ownership starts with one or more of four desires that drive an individual towards psychological ownership, which are: a desire to be engaged in doing something worthwhile. The desire to be engaged in doing something worthwhile straddles two of Maslow's hierarchy of needs: the need for love and belonging, and the need for esteem. When we feel that we are doing something worthwhile, we feel a sense of inner peace and of being of value. A desire to create or to produce intended action or result. There is a feeling of pride and inner bliss when we create something, regardless of whether it is tangible or intangible. This feeling of creativity is found in the observation at a ball game that we transformed into a judgment, or it may be a painting we painted. We also feel excited and proud as we engage in the creation process. A desire to strengthen or preserve one's self-identity as being special or unique. Ownership helps us build our self-identity as unique and special, which empowers us to feel acceptable and superior because of our differences. Such as the 2-year-old who says with great pride, "I stinky," when their diaper needs changing. A desire to belong to or be part of something. A feeling of belonging helps us manage stress, feel safe, share, and build confidence. Being around or communicating with other members lifts our spirit and makes us feel stronger and motivated to move forward. It helps develop our identity, giving us a focus and direction as we adopt the goals of the other members. These desires are formed, nourished, and strengthened by the four enablers or actions associated with the psychological ownership stake. The greater the feeling of success or recognition, the stronger the enabler. As an individual receives recognition or success from their psychological ownership, the strength of that psychological ownership increases and hardens. Individuals tend to increase their psychological ownership faster than they reduce it when the recognition is diminished. This imbalance is because we tend to hold on to our past successes as they give us an uplift when we think of them. The greater the feeling of autonomy or responsibility, the stronger the enabler. As individuals proceed greater autonomy, control, and responsibility over their psychological ownership stake, their psychological ownership will increase and harden. But be careful in reducing the autonomy, control, or responsibility, as it may result in hostile or negative behavior from the individual if they feel their psychological ownership is threatened. The greater the feeling of individual investment, the stronger the enabler. As individuals increase their psychological ownership stake investment, psychological ownership will expand and harden. This increase in investment is the preceded investment. It can result from the time invested, as in years associated, the concentration of time, as in long hours, the energy invested, physical or mental, or the amount of personal creativity invested. The greater the feeling of the intimate knowledge, the stronger the enabler. As individuals' intimate and deep knowledge of their psychological ownership stake increases, they become the expert and the go-to person for things relating to their psychological ownership stake. The individual need not become an expert but merely a go-to person in their community. With this expertise comes a sense of pride, identity, and psychological ownership, which increases and hardens as their knowledge increase. Common areas of psychological ownership: community or membership. This can be a church, social group, work group, a gang. Ownership is in the community and its shared values, more so than the individual members. The members may come and go without a significant emotional impact on the individual. Intimate relationships. These relationships are closer than a community membership. The bonds of ownership are more substantial, such as family bonds. Ownership is in the members of the relationship, such as that is my father, mother, and child. The bond is more than the family, it is in intimate relationships. This is a reason that divorce is so painful for all the family members. Activities or positions. As what we commit our time to, our profession, or in our spare time. We often title ourselves based on our position or activity, such as lawyer, painter, or gamer. Our title usually travels with us. Knowledge. This relates to having special knowledge, such as a chemist or tax preparer. The level of expertise is relative to the community, such as the family technical expert, the teenager who knows about technology. Often called the expert or an expert, and sought out for the knowledge that one possesses. Memory or feelings. This one is a bit different. It is more linked to memories and feelings, such as childhood community and favorite food. It holds a special place in my heart, feelings, and childhood memories in Nova Scotia. I am a Canadian. I long to visit my home in Nova Scotia, Canada. Beliefs as beliefs held, such as religious beliefs, superstitions, and stories told to us. In the late 1600s, some believed that few girls were witches and killed them. When I see a bird being overly social or hear a noise late at night, I get scared that something terrible will happen based on superstitions told to me. To learn more about psychological ownership and how to develop and manage it, see our free ebook. Psychological Ownership: How it affects your team's effectiveness and how to manage it.